the steak, and the rich buy my meat off my still living body to eat for pleasure so I can pay my rent to live in their meat factory. Yes, this video is about veganism, but it's not like any I've seen before. Who the fuck am I? Well, I'm actually a healthy lifestyle specialist, and I've tried every diet, including veganism, vegetarianism, pescatarianism, and I still eat meat. But this is more than just about me, or you or me, but about a lot. Of course, let's start at the beginning. What is veganism about? Usually say morality. Why would you kill something? Why would you kill animals? The common counter-argument is, well, I'm an omnivore, I eat everything, and of course, there's no good answer to this. Am I supposed to die because I eat other things? Should avocados be banned because to grow an avocado you're gonna put 7 tons of pesticides all around it and kill all the rats, birds, and anything that could eat the avocado or any other vegetarian grain? Ecology is not simple, and neither is morality. And me, neither I nor Nietzsche really know how to define morality besides the continuation of life and fighting for your right to exist, but also not depriving others of that right. It's complicated, I know. I think to sustain life on this planet in general, that's like the only moral quest we have at this point. And historically, this has not been conveyed very well. Now, vegetarianism has good intentions. Veganism, vegetarianism, don't make animals suffer more than they need to, because life is suffering. We cannot take the suffering out of life. Do you, the apex predator of this planet, feel like suffering has been removed from your life? No, it hasn't. So let's get that idea out of our minds. It's about reducing unnecessary suffering, not all suffering. So, veganism, good intentions, negative effect. I say this because a vegan finds a meat eater and then they insult one another. They don't really debate much. It's more of a, I want things my way, fuck you. Okay? Nothing really happens because no one's tried to listen to one another. And this is made significantly worse by the fact that this is a division between people. You know who likes division? The people making money. Money. Yes, it's billionaires. Wow, corporations. Yep, it's political. Of course it's political. It's way more than just political. Health and veganism. Not all vegan stuff is healthy. Not all vegan stuff is eco-friendly. Not all animal products are unhealthy. I'm not sure if you've seen studies on cheese, but that is pretty good for you. That is pretty good for you. And you know what's super vegan? Sugar. refined flour, rapeseed or corn oil, whatever. These three things probably murder more people than illegal drugs. Actually, not probably, no, it's pretty proven. Also, in that one study where they tried to argue that meat causes heart attacks, and then they gave participants only vegetable oil, and then they had to stop that study because the rate of heart rate attacks, it jumped. It didn't go down, it jumped, and they're like, okay, not ethical anymore, we have to stop it. So, that's one thing. These cheap foods, as you notice, cheap is usually the antithesis of healthy. And cheap is the tool of the rich to keep us complacent and sick, which is another thing to add to complacence. Because if you're strong, you would fight, but if you're weakened and you're sick and you're obese and you're diabetic, there's no fight in you left. There is no fight left in you, and that's what they like. Because then they can sell you also diabetic medicine. They get to sell you Wegovy. They get to sell you everything. And you become the animal trapped in their factory. As the Romans said, give them bread in circus. We have circus, hi it's you, hi circus. And we have bread, literal bread and everything poisonous that honestly shouldn't exist. The fact that these things exist for so cheaply is anti-vegan. A bun, a bagel, a donut, made from these refined bullshit things, not food, bullshit. And the fact they're sold so cheaply is anti-vegan because you are an animal and you suffer because of it. They know you suffer. And they love it because you make money for them, you make everything for them. All they gotta do is just chillax. What a dumbass. Give them bread and circus and they will never revolt. Why revolt? If life is good, you don't revolt. So they're insinuating that yes, life is actually not that good for you. For them it's pretty good. Not morally, but still. We should revolt, just like the slaves revolted because they were in terrible conditions, and we are in terrible conditions. We are the sick animals in the pen. We're slaves to them. It's like what a slave could do back several centuries ago, and what we can do to our owners is the same thing. If you don't feel like a slave, that's probably because you're a little bit higher on the hierarchy, and you have someone below you who you can directly or indirectly oppress and subdue. If you're the one on the top, you'll feel pretty good, but of course you'll be a minority. So yes, animals and humans. So yes, I'm an animal, you're an animal. We humans are still animals. So the question is, can you be actually vegan today? When someone's working minimum wage, suffering, and they will not know life. They'll know existence. Is your heartbeat above 0? It is. Do you wake up and go to sleep every day? Do you live to see 60? Sure. How's that different from a milked cow? Yeah, they get food. Yeah, they're safe from physical threats. There is no difference besides the fact that our pens are bigger, we have more technology, but our life isn't that much different from theirs when you compare, animals to farmers and then farmers to billionaires. It is impossible to be vegan right now because vegan means cruelty free or minimize cruelty if we're taking off the idealism glasses. And yes, human rights and animal rights, both rights. If I eat an avocado, which should be vegan, which is produced in Venezuela by an impoverished farmer who gets paid cents for what something the company sells for way more and keeps the profit instead of feeding the farmer, and I eat that avocado, is that vegan? Is that cruelty free? The answer is obviously no, not even close. As long as billionaires and their companies exist, nothing is vegan. Nothing is vegan. Me, I could grow my own nuts and vegetables. That would still not be vegan. Because in this society right now, how could I afford to get that much land to sustain myself alone without torturing others? And it's expensive here. Hello, it's 2026 heat wave, summer. And I'm in a city. How much land would I freaking need to feed myself? How would I get that land? By working a terribly minimal wage job, one that degrades my entire existence, my dignity, and feeds the billionaires. Since existing isn't vegan, and suffering can never be eliminated entirely, but necessary suffering, that is a noble cause, and that is what we, or the decent, moral people, are trying to achieve here. Should your cat deserve to die from a vegan diet because it was born a carnivore? What about foxes, owls, wolves, whales? Some vegans think fishes aren't exactly animals. I'm not gonna delve into that. It matters little. But no, we don't say, hey, your cat should die, it's bad to own a cat. We try to rely on necessity. Our ancestors were not vegans because they could not just be, hey, look, there's 20 billion avocados over there. We don't need to go hunt that mammoth. There's also the fact that essential amino acids are difficult to acquire through vegan meats. Yes, I know soy exists, I know tofu exists. My point completely stands. Tiny tidbit, I began eating ecological eggs, like twice as expensive, but I replaced some vegetables with those eggs, and I feel better, a lot better, because essential amino acids, and of course choline, where you couldn't get enough choline otherwise. Would be vegan if I just suffered and ate kale all day, every day? It wouldn't be, because there's still unnecessary suffering involved. If a chicken lays an egg, and that egg is insentient, we can rule that it's an animal product. But if the chicken was growing, free range, That would be as minimal suffering as we could get. Because what are we going to do with all the millions, if not billions, of livestock we have right now? They exist to feed us, okay? So, do we let them go rampant on the ecosystem? Bad idea. Yep. Do we kill them all and just say, no more suffering after this gigantic pile of suffering? Questionable, and also they don't have a right to live because we needed them to survive? Questionable. Back to necessity. Necessity of survival. If a cat needs to eat a rat to survive, we don't chastise the cat. If the cat could just live on grass, perfectly okay, we probably would chastise the cat. But today we live in hyper-capitalism, or more accurately, techno-feudalism, and it cares for not any belief that doesn't end with a higher dollar amount than it started with. It believes in a profit motive as its God and Savior and everything. Oh, you're gonna buy lettuce that's gonna be marked up by 200% if I put a tiny label on that says ecological. So, hell yeah, I'll put that thing on there. I'll put it on there. I'm a billionaire. I'll do whatever I want for money. Oh, it's gonna be cheaper to make the sticker not mean anything besides, hey, look, it says ecological, but actually it's not ecological. Actually, I pay below minimum wage for the workers. I import impoverished people from other countries and trap them here. I'll do it. I'm talking about billionaires, of course, because you cannot be an ethical or vegan billionaire. Because no one earns that much money. No one earns that much money. They take it, they exploit someone to get that money. They believe in anything for profit. Technically, everything you see around me, including me, only exists because someone somewhere thought it would be profitable. I am a cow, basically. I'm a cow, basically. You watching this are also probably a cow. Not as an insult. I think your weight is fine. Unless it's causing health issues, in which case it's not. Let's say I'm a dairy farmer. I let cows live good enough so I can make a profit, and that justifies their existence, and I can live an easier life. Well, billionaires look at the same way as farmers do with cows. They look the same way at us. We are the working class, we are their cows, their cash cows. They exploit us. They don't want to kill us. They want us to be just alive enough to produce some milk. Exploitation. By pursuing minimizing our suffering, we can open the society to realize that we need to minimize the suffering of all animals, including us. I do value human life a little bit higher than animal life, purely out of a vegan perspective, that if I save 100 cows, that won't save any more cows, just 100. If you save 100 people, how many cows can they save? How many other people can they save that will save even more cows? you invest in minimizing the suffering of animals, humans, it can multiply our efforts in minimizing the suffering of other animals on this planet. Veganism is not what it seems at first glance. Digging deep enough, 3 years and one written book later, I found the truth. Veganism is the belief of reduced suffering, whatever that might entail. The opposite of veganism is the strong eat the weak. Feudalism, hypercapitalism. What is an animal? Me, you. If we're rich, we're carnivores. If we're not, we're herbivores. We're the ones being eaten. And in truth, equality, veganism, human rights, they're all part of one bigger movement. A movement of preserving a life and preventing destruction. This is the only thing that I can come to an agreement with several philosophers, that preserving life is the ultimate moral goal. Life, not existence, life, two very different things. Cow living on a pasture is life. Cow living somewhere in a factory, never seeing the sun, that's existence. Me being stuck behind a laptop for 8 hours a day, paying just enough taxes to afford to continue living in a society which only values me for how much I can pay it, that is a factory. And the morality of, or philosophy rather, of might is right and survival of the fittest, it only leads to self-destruction. And here we go to the Fermi paradox. I hope you know what it is. But let's start simple. One day you stepped on an ant. Did you notice it? Did you not? Because it doesn't matter at all to an ant. Yeah, sure, you might feel bad, but the ant's dead all the same. And sometimes we might think a little more deeply with this thing called our brain and might realize that we might not be the boot. We might be the ant someday. And a foot might be a billionaire who won't notice your death in their bank account, or an alien who won't even consider your life worthy of a second thought and simply clean you out of existence. Just how we clean a restaurant table with disinfectant. Just completely automatic. No conscious thought. No moral quarrels. You think they would contact us as equals, trying to preserve life, if that life preserves other life? Or would they just clean us off? Like some evil pandemic which only seeks to multiply infinitely until it destroys everything. How would we treat aliens? Is it the same way we treat animals? If it's stronger than us, we surrender. If it's equal to us, we talk, we make some handshakes, we try to make some treaties. And if it's weaker than us, we don't have to do that. We can just subdue and exploit it. We couldn't exploit chickens if they were our equals or stronger than us. The Fermi paradox says there's something hidden in life, evolution, intelligent life, which prevents it from being spacefaring, or gives the appearance of little life being spacefaring. There's plenty of ideas about the great filters that filter out intelligent life. Some say we're past them, and some say we're just about to hit them. I think we're never going to be past them completely. We're going to be always overcoming, which is the human essence, to be honest. And one of these great filters is if we can sustain life on this planet and not just fight for the top place, fight to be number one on a planet that's dead and burnt, because that will be the consequence of everyone fighting to be number one, the richest person on the planet, owner of the planet, which was once worth quintillions and now is probably going to be worth less than the materials on it. I think that's a great filter. And being on a life-preserving movement would mean trying to overcome this great filter by cooperation, something humans have inside themselves, but something that has been, again, subdued by the opposite of cooperation, competition. Competition is good when it's fair. If I make tomatoes that are just more tasty than you do, I deserve to benefit more. If I make more tomatoes because I abuse human rights, I should not be the one benefiting, even if the consumer would get a tomato for somewhat cheaper. How do we want to be treated by each other, human to human? How do we want to be treated by aliens that might or might not come? How do we judge each other? How would aliens judge us, if not by the way we treat other species on this planet, like cows, dogs, and of course, each other? Because it seems like we're on a path of self-destruction, and if I was an alien, I would not contact this species. There's little point. It's just gonna self-destruct. It's like making a friend you know is gonna go away in a few minutes and never come back. I don't think we will be much use to aliens unless under a telescope. An alien telescope, and currently aliens are somewhere out there teaching their tiny students, okay, see, these other humans, they fell into the self-destruction loop, and we'll have an exam on this on the next Warblog Day, so be sure to study humans, and if you learn well, you'll be able to prevent this thing in the future. Okay? Entirely possible that if we try to move towards reduction of suffering, we could have contact with aliens. That wouldn't end in obliteration if we survive long enough to make contact with